Hey, darling, Vanessa Montgomery here from Astro All-Stars. Let's talk about Mars into Cancer and the retrograde that's going to happen a little later on. So, first up, Mars has moved into Cancer today. So, Mars is the action principle. It's how you get things done with what kind of energy, what kind of rest do we need, what kind of MO does Mars have? That's the sign it's in. So it's going to move through Cancer, it's going to head into Leo, and then it's going to retrograde from Leo back to Cancer. So this is a really long transit if you take it all up, and I'll give you the dates in a bit. So let's start with Mars in Cancer. Well, what's the goddess of war, the deity of war, doing in a sign like Cancer that just loves comfort food, a warm blanket, and cuddles on the couch with the fam? Let's see. So Mars in Cancer acts on emotions, acts on feelings, acts to defend the family. So it can be quite reactive, and it gets a bit of grief. So you might see a bit of grief. I mean, I know plenty of people with Mars in Cancer that do just great. The grief comes from the fact that Mars is exalted in the opposite sign of Capricorn. So in our material world, that is a great place to have Mars. I really could handle that personally. So Mars in Capricorn, the opposite sign, it moves to climb that mountain of success and, worldly success. So achievement, status, it knows how to do that and how to get there. Mars in Cancer moves to protect the family. It's very protective, moves to protect. The thing with the way these, good and bad is set up in astrology, I find it is fairly patriarchal. It is quite misogynist. It's a sexist stereotype. So I love astrology, and it really is time to change all of this. And part of that is to highlight how this happens. So Mars in Cancer, to me, that says that acting to protect and provide for the family is not valued, and it's seen as a bit of a low end from Mars energy, I suppose. I guess the sexism or misogyny is that Mars is seen as masculine and it transgresses, a good word Aleo Lopez used in talking about these rulerships, it transgresses what we think Mars should do. It transgresses into the domestic, private, classed as women's sphere, because ancient Athens and the rest. So I think it's really time to rebrand the signs in areas where they seem to transgress by gender, because that's ridiculous. So Mars in Cancer, you'll see it's like, I don't know, just cries all the time, which, there can be tears, but, expressing anger, or what underlies anger, they often say, is more vulnerable feelings, and there's a lot to say on this. I won't go into it. I just did a big talk on it all. However, Mars in Cancer, let's look at the positive. So the energy is to set up home, set up the domestic sphere, work on your home. I'm going to, funnily enough, paint the front door tomorrow, where I rent, as a beautiful gold color to welcome in the wealth. So, there you go. I went to Bunnings today with my land queen, not landlord, they're land queens, and we got some supplies for the house. Hilarious. Right on time. It's really interesting to see those correlations. So Mars went in earlier today, and it was in when I did that. So personally, I'm going to get a trine to my Mars from Cancer to Pisces, because it's the same element. So positive. So think about different ways this affects you personally and pings off in your chart. Where is Cancer, early degrees Cancer in your chart? That's where Mars is traveling through right now. So that's where you're getting energized. Mars is energy, and to do certain things. So mine is in my money house, the second house. So there you go. That's to draw in wealth. And it's a beautiful color as well, goes with the house. So Mars in Cancer, What else can it be? It's very huggy. I love Mars and Cancer people because they are very warm and very huggy. There can be a defensive side, you know, the nippers coming out to nip at a threat. Cancer, it can be quite a fearful sign and protective. Like it moves on the offensive actually because it's a cardinal sign. And actually Mars is pretty happy in cardinal signs, let's face it. And because it can go, it's a go factor. Cardinal likes to go. So happy days. The other thing, you know, Capricorn rules big business, whereas Cancer is on that axis and that polarity. So it rules what we would see as smaller business, domestic business, the running of the home. But there are people, you know, with Mars and Cancer that can apply that to a bigger business. They're just going to do it in a way that emotionally connects more. I think of Richard Branson when I think of a Cancerian going full tilt with a business that is very personal. Cancer is a personal sign of emotional connection. It moves, cardinal sign, it moves to create that emotional connection. And I don't think he has Mars in Pisces, but as a Cancer, but as a Cancer, it's making connections. It could be very good at networking and making you feel like family. So he had these very personal touches that we'd never seen. I remember when Virgin Airlines came to Australia and there were all these little jokes to make people feel warm. He does have Leo rising. There is that. He's a very canny business person, obviously. Cancer's very canny. And so just think about that overlay on things. It might be a good period where you can make those connections. Currently, you know, we are in Virgo season, so taking that into account. So let's look at some dates. So September 4-5, depending where you are, Mars goes into Cancer. It's already in. October 5, Mars hits the pre-retrograde zone at 17 degrees Cancer. This is where it's going to retrograde back to. November 3 or 4, Mars heads into Leo in pre-retrograde still. December 6 or 7, depending on where you are, Mars turns retrograde at 6 degrees Leo. 6 degrees Leo. January 6, 2025, Mars retros back into Cancer during its retrograde journey. February 23, the retrograde is over at 17 degrees Cancer. So between 17 Cancer and 6 degrees Leo is the zap zone, as Mystic Medusa likes to coin that. April 18, Mars direct moves back into Leo from Cancer. May 2, Mars clears the post-retrograde shade. So it is officially over because it still has to go for a third time over those degrees. So it goes direct, pre-retro shade, back, retrograde, and once more over those degrees as the post-retrograde shadow, it's called officially, but we like to say shade, it's more funky. So then June 18, Mars finally clears Leo and heads into Virgo. So the retrograde is officially December 6 or 7 to February 23. However, including the retrograde shades, it is October 5 really through to May 2nd. That's quite a long time. It spends 2 months and 17 days in retrograde, but this full period is what? October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Is that 7 months? It's a very long time. Surely not. That is really long. Anyway, Venus went retrograde in Leo just before this time last year. So here we are with a bit more Leo action, but Leo back to Cancer. So we'll talk more about that once the retrograde happens. Check it in your chart, book in with me at astroallstarswithaz.com. Pick up my book, Astro Power, a simple guide to prediction and destiny for the modern mystic, out now, so you can learn all about transits, and Cosmic Power to learn about the signs. So deep dive those signs a bit more. Have a great day and enjoy this transit.